What's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? So, Gen V episode 6 dropped today, and my god, it was a pretty damn interesting episode. Let's jump right into it. So, we open up right where we left off on episode 5 with Marie. She had just brought her sister Annabeth back to life, and everybody is stunned by that fact. And they get back to trying to escape Elmira. And here we find out Annabeth has some sort of powers because she's telling them where to go and whatnot. And then it leads to a dead end. They think she's full of shit, and then Sam bursts through the wall and rescues them. And yeah, that kind of lets us know that Annabeth has somewhat of powers, and then they escape. They get on a bus, and they say that they're going to go to Canada. And Annabeth freaks the fuck out, and everybody's really kind of freaked out by Marie and the fact that she brought Annabeth back to life, because that makes her one of the most powerful superheroes on Earth. And Annabeth demands that they stop the car and shit, that she's freaked out, that she just died, she just came back to life, now she's on a bus with all these strangers. And so they end up stopping at a community library, and there's a stack of books in the middle that got burned, and they look for food and anything, resources that they might need and whatnot. And we get an emotional conversation between Marie and Annabeth, because Marie has been desperately looking for Annabeth for the last decade. And talk about, first off, Annabeth's powers. So basically, she has visions that she can't really control when they happen, but she kind of can see the future in moments. And then just fucking guilt trips the shit out of Marie about her parents. I don't like Annabeth. I'm sorry. Look, I understand that she went through something very traumatic and she lost her parents, and that it was an accident and Marie's fault. But Marie also lost her parents and lived with that guilt her entire life. So these lines like, yeah, I don't know, they weren't alive for me to be able to ask them, is so just like, get over yourself. And then even blames Marie for as to why she was brought into the cell to begin with, which, yeah, Marie's existence, I guess, is why she was brought into the cell and got involved, but that wasn't Marie's fault. There was nothing she could do about that. So just blaming Marie for shit she can't control and won't let go of. And as that, we find out her powers, and Emma and Sam go off. Sam finds food from a vending machine, and Emma messages her friends, which was really stupid, on Instagram, that they need help and that they escaped Elmira and whatnot. And we cut to Cypher, who... Oh, so after they escape the prison, we cut to Cypher, who is... he's got Godolkin, whom we think is Godolkin, the old burnt up man. He's, like stretching his legs and whatnot, and then finds out that they escaped Elmira, and then throws his phone, and then fucking slaps the shit out of Godolkin and calls him a dumpster, calls him disgusting vermin dumpster baby. Super polite, and then goes back to stretching his legs as if nothing happened. Which raises a few questions. We've all been theorizing, like, is Godolkin controlling Cypher and whatnot, and this doesn't really... the theory could still be true. Like, Godolkin could be controlling Cypher and just looking at himself and being so enraged at his current state that he does that. But in a way, this kind of looks like no, that maybe Godolkin isn't controlling Cypher. But then why would Cypher have Godolkin there? So I don't know. Lots to theorize on there. But yeah, then we have the library, Emma hitting them up, and then we go back to Cypher, who is now at Andre's dad's house, trying to convince him to bring him back Marie. And Andre's dad says, fuck you. And right after they have that conversation, he ends up getting a call, Andre's dad, I don't remember his damn name, from the girl that Emma messaged saying that, hey, they escaped Elmira and need help, and Cypher uses his power to take over Andre's dad and pretend that he's him and whatnot. And then we go back to the library, and Annabeth is having a panic attack over the entire situation, and Marie helps her through her breathing, and it's the quickest panic attack I've ever seen. I wish panic attacks were realistically that easy to solve, but they're not. Give it about 20 more minutes, and then the Viking dude that was part of their training throws in his axe or whatever the fuck it is, the hammer, and sees it coming, and Jordan blocks it. Jordan's my favorite character, I think. Jordan's a badass. And then, yeah, Sam and him have a fight while Annabeth and the rest go and hide. Marie basically gets thrown out of the damn building, and Jordan goes to help Marie. And I have a hard time believing Sam would struggle against the Viking based off how powerful he was last season, but he's losing the fight, and the Viking then throws Sam into the room where Annabeth and the others are, and then goes out to Marie, and then all of a sudden, Zoe pops out, and we all know what's going to happen. He kneels down and says, why don't you get out of here? Things are about to get messy. And then they do. We get one of the best decapitations ever. Zoe with her 4 little, I don't know what you call them, leech things that come out of her mouth. Fucking go into his eyes, go into his mouth, and basically wrap around his head, squeeze it, and make his head pop up, make his head fall off. It's a pretty insane visual. And yeah, which just makes me wonder, like, the power dynamic. That's the hard thing about writing superheroes, is like Sam last season was ripping people in half, punching their heads off, punching straight through their body, ripping out their hearts. So if those little leech things could easily penetrate the Viking's head and, you know, squeeze it until his head pops off, like, then couldn't Sam just punch his head off? Am I dumb? Am I overthinking? Probably. But then after Zoe does that, Stan Edgar comes out of the bushes, and Zoe's like, hey, to Marie, and says that my mom told me all about you. And yeah, Stan Edgar actually ends up being there and says he wants Marie, and Marie demands that they all come, that if she goes with them, they all go with them. And so then Stan takes them to an underground bunker, which is 90 feet underground, and apparently Mark Zuckerberg doesn't even have as good of an underground bunker as Stan Edgar. And in the elevator, they're talking about basically how Victoria Newman was talking about Marie a lot, and we basically have like a scene of like sadness that Victoria Newman's gone. And then 1 second later, Stan Edgar talks about how Homelander is destroying civilization as we know it, thanks to Victoria Newman. So yeah, fuck Victoria Newman. That it turns out that rant last week actually comes into play. Because yeah, if not for Victoria's help, they may not be needing to hide in an underground bunker right now. But whatever. And I guess, yeah, Marie has Victoria Newman's powers, but a way stronger version of that. That wasn't exactly confirmed, but kinda. So Stan points everybody to the shower, insults how they smell, and, tells everybody to make themselves at home and whatnot, and then starts preparing them a meal and brags that he spent $700,000 to learn how to cook. Like, dude, you could have learned that for free. And then does something that really bothers me, all right? This is going to be very nitpicky and bitchy, but he brags about how he spent $700,000. Or was it seven figures? I think it was $700,000 to learn how to cook, right? And then whenever he goes to scrape the tomatoes off the cutting board, he uses the wrong side of the knife, which I just found funny. Because if you spent that much money to learn how to cook, that's just basic, 101. And when you're scraping the food off of the cutting board, you flip the knife and use the flat end, not use the blade end to drag it on the... Very, very nitpicky there of me, but like... $700,000 and you don't even know how to wipe stuff off of a cutting board. Okay. And like, why? You could just learn how to cook, like, I love cooking. Learning how to cook is constantly failing and improving and learning off of your failures. And anyway, that was just a funny moment to me to watch him incorrectly scrape something off of a cutting board after bragging about spending so much money to learn how to cook. That's how you fuck a knife up. And anyway, yeah. So then he starts to talk to them about Project Odessa. And we find out that out of Project Odessa, the whole point was to create superheroes that are god tier, that are above the rest, that are just way more powerful than the rest, and that only two people survived the Compound V and Project Odessa: Marie and Homelander. And so everybody has this shocking revelation that she's as powerful as Homelander. I don't see how. I'm just trying to imagine them fighting, and I just don't see how. Yes, she brought somebody back to life, and she did take a laser shot. It didn't show it, but they said at the beginning of this season you took that like a pro or something. So, or no, it was in the finale. Well, yeah, whenever it showed them locked up, that she took the laser beams like a pro. Also, though, Homelander can control how, much pressure he's using. Whenever he heated up a bottle of breast milk, he can control the eye lasers and how powerful they are. So maybe he didn't hit her with the full force. But, I'm just trying to imagine, is she bulletproof? If Homelander were to, punch her as hard as he possibly could in the face, would she just be able to take it and smile? Could she blow his head up? Is that what we're getting at here? Is that she's so powerful she could blow Homelander up? Thinking too much into it. But then he talks about Cypher and Godolkin, and that Godolkin had the belief that they could control these superheroes, and that Cypher is all about superhero supremacy and getting the absolute, not controlling the superheroes, but making superheroes as powerful as possible. But I think Stan Edgar is lying, okay? Because Cypher himself said if Homelander knows what we were up to here, he wouldn't like it. I do believe, and we'll get there, that he is right in a way that he believes in superhero supremacy. And he may not care about humans or be on the side of humans, But I still do not believe that he's on the side of Homelander. Like, I don't think he's building a super strong army to stand with Homelander. I do think Cypher has his own agenda when it comes to that. And same with Sister Sage. But that's what he tells them, is that Cypher is all about superhero supremacy while Godolkin is about controlling. And that's whenever they tell Edgar that, like, holy shit, we actually saw a super old burnt man and a hyper chamber in Cypher's house, and Stan then goes from wanting to make an offer of keeping Marie safe to now the answer to destroying superheroes could be in Godolkin's head, and that kind of changes everything. And then we go back to Cypher, who is outraged because he has no idea where the kids are. He's taking control of Andre's dad's body and making him slap himself and whatnot, while talking about how he's going to, basically what Stan Edgar said, that he is going to reduce the school count to 25%, and that he wants to get the strongest of the strong out instead of admitting, like, weaker superheroes and whatnot. And then there's this badass part where he goes to he tries to make Andre's dad slap himself again, and he actually fights it. Not only fights it, but is able to use his powers to shove Cypher out the window, which was impressive, and caught Cypher off guard. He said, "What the fuck?" So I don't know if that's Andre's dad was just so powerful he was able to mentally, because whenever he took over Jordan, right, he talked about how easy it was to, take her over, that she just instantly submitted. And so I don't know if that's just a testament to how powerful Andre's dad's psyche is, or if Cypher's powers aren't as strong as they think we are, or if Godolkin's controlling Cypher and maybe his power. I don't know. But pretty badass scene there, and then Cypher disappears. And then we go back to the bunker, and after finding this out about that she got the same compound B as Homelander, she is pretty freaked out, having a hard time accepting that, and Stan Edgar tells her that you need to accept that you're more powerful than all of your friends combined, and that when the dust settles, the people that will be left over are going to be the ones that reshape, civilization and whatnot, and signifying that she'll be one of those people and her friends won't be. And then we have a scene with Emma and Sam, and Sam is basically just apologizing to Emma for being such a dick last year. And Emma is talking about that they're not the same people that they were, and that, like, she really doesn't want to rekindle things, but Sam does, and then he kind of creepily tries to kiss her. She says no. He gives her a remote to this TV thing, and then goes and takes a shower. And so while Stan Edgar was explaining that to Marie, that when the dust settles, blah blah, he hands her a file of Thomas Godolkin and all the ways that he figured out how to subdue superheroes and whatnot, and his research, and that basically that the answer to wiping out superheroes could be in Godolkin's head. And so he's now more curious and trying to, find Godolkin than keeping Marie, it sounds like. Like, he said he was about to offer her a deal, like her safety in exchange for her loyalty as he takes back over Vought, which he's confident that he'll do. But because Thomas Godolkin could still be alive, the answers to wiping out Soups could be in Thomas Godolkin's head. So he kind of leaves it up in the air if he still even wants Marie, but they're still staying there, so I would guess yeah, because he doesn't even know if it is Thomas Godolkin. And yeah, I forgot that he mentioned that maybe Cypher's keeping him as a trophy. I'm still not completely over the idea that Godolkin might be controlling him, but we'll see. And then we get a scene with Annabeth and... God damn it, I knew her name 5 minutes ago. Victoria Newman's daughter, where she's just talking Zoe, where Zoe's just asking her about, you know, what's it like having a big sister, and Annabeth doesn't really talk about it much. Says, you know, that they're not really close and they haven't been for a long time, but then talks about emotional moments when they were kids, that she was so shy. That so much so that she wouldn't even go trick-or-treating on Halloween, and Marie would go trick-or-treating and come back and give her half her candy, and that she was really sweet, and, you know, which totally just, again, is like, then why are you being such an asshole to her your entire life then? Remember, she lost her parents too, like, I accidentally got the Cypher slapping Andre's dad scene out of order, but no biggie. We get Marie laying in bed with Jordan and talking about, you know, how she's having a hard time accepting all this, and once Jordan falls asleep, she makes the decision to leave, which is crazy. And then Kate tags along with her, which, dude, why put yourself in Kate's perspective. Why would you tag along with Marie? You want to get back into the good graces of Cypher. You just got sent to Elmira, right? Nothing would do that like saying, hey, I delivered Marie back to you. She's totally going to double-cross Marie. I don't understand why she allowed Kate to come with. Kate pulled the whole, you could heal my powers and blah, blah. But no, Kate is absolutely going to fuck Marie over and act like she's going to try to get back into the good graces with Cypher, because she knows that if Marie were to go back to God U without Kate, that Kate would then, you know, be on Cypher's bad side. So I guarantee you Kate's going to double cross Marie. Could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like she has. Like, this entire episode, Kate was just kind of in her own world. So I totally see her double crossing Murray just to get back into the good graces of Cypher and working with him again. I hate Kate. And yeah, so I'm not really sure where she's going. I think she plans on going back to God U. I'm not really sure why, but I guess we'll just have to tune in next week. Yeah, this was a really, really good episode, and I love what we're leading up to here. I'm so excited for Season 5 of The Boys. But yeah, it was a really solid episode. We got a lot of exposition and a lot of answers, and the fact that Marie could be as powerful as Homelander is pretty crazy. But this was a pretty awesome episode. It's always fun to see it actually cross over into The Boys, you know, characters, and yeah, we got a lot of answers, and it's pretty crazy. Looking forward to the next 2 episodes, figuring out what the hell. I'm really puzzled on where Cypher is. Like, when he talked about his plans for making Soups more powerful and reducing the school population down to 25%, like, it sounds evil, but to me it sounds like he's trying to build a team to stop Homelander. Like, I don't think he's pro Homelander, but I also don't think he's pro human. Like, he's definitely evil, but I don't think he's pro Homelander. But we'll see. Anyway, enough blabbering. Yeah, it was a really good episode. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. We got Peacemaker finale coming out tomorrow, and I will see you then. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.